Great news for Coach Prime. Great news for Colorado. Great news for his family. Great news for college football. Great news for young men who are being led and inspired by Coach Prime, and young women as well. People who are getting opportunities, people who are being seen, heard, and being audacious and being bold without worrying about what anybody else is thinking about. Colorado and Deion Sanders had their press conference today talking about his health situation and everything else. I first heard about this news about a month and a half, 2 months ago, right? My heart was initially hurt, but at the same time, of course, this is breaking news, right? And there's a lot of people who would say, oh, let's get on Twitter. But to me, this was much more of a human issue, right? My family's been affected by cancer. My mom, my grandma, my granddad. It's not pretty. Sometimes we forget, and sometimes people put their career aspirations above the humanity. And for me, this was about a human story. This is a man whose son just went through everything with the draft. His other son ends up in Tampa. He's got a football team to coach that he's been away from for months. And so Deion Sanders dealing with bladder cancer. And this is a man who's standing 8 toes down right now because he's had 2 toes amputated. And there was speculation, oh, is he going to coach again? Is he not going to coach again? All of this stuff. And I talked initially about, obviously, the impact that this has on people. But this is a man who's had a partial foot amputation, blood clots. Like, and at Big 12 Media Day, he was clearly, skinnier. And one of the things that I noticed when I've had people in my family who've been sick is when something serious is going on, your voice starts to change. It's not as powerful and commanding. But when you heard Deion Sanders at the press conference today, you start to hear some of that energy get back in his voice, that life get back into his voice. So it was dope. The private situation with him and his family, right? His son, Deion Jr., posted a video, which we'll put up now.
Well, he told me to document the whole thing.
I don't know if I'm ready mentally, emotionally.
At first while I was there with him, I'm like, bro, I just want to be there as your son. I don't really want to, I don't want to document, bro. I just want to be there for you. Now as time going on, and as the battle was fought and the battle was won, I see why. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I'm not only going through this for me.
So think about that. Deion Sanders Jr., they post everything. They talk about everything. They live stream and everything. But this is a private thing. And Deion told him to record the journey. In one of the most private moments, like this can be used as a testimony and a blessing to other people. And I understand where Deion Jr. was like, nah, I need to be your son right now. I don't need to be working for you. I don't need to be the film crew and all of this stuff. But Deion wanted it recorded. And some people will look at that, oh, it's self-serving. He just wants to, what? No, you are supposed to use your adversity and the things that you go through to build other people up. And that was a blessing. And the press conference was announced. Now, I didn't know what was going to be said at the press conference. I just knew that he was in remission and he was doing much better. But I didn't know whether he was going to say that he was going to change his coaching role at Colorado or whether he'd be away in the beginning. I mean, I knew that there were positive things going on, but he sat up there with the urologic and oncology director from the CU Cancer Center and talked about how he got diagnosed with bladder cancer. And as men sometimes, and it's just people, we don't always like to go get checked up. Oh, it'll be okay, this and that. Deion told y'all, go get checked up. And this is something that is a testimony because you can use this for other people. And the fact that now I wasn't the only person, I'm not naive enough to believe that I was the only person that knew this. But I want to give a big shout out to all of the people who did know and were able to protect this man's privacy and weren't willing to sacrifice a headline for that. So big props up to everybody else that did that. This is where we talk about like life is fragile. This is one of the greatest football players of all time, one of the biggest names in sports. And you realize that it can all be gone in just a hot second. So the question is, what does this mean for Colorado going into this season? I believe that this is a big boost for this Colorado team because they got their emotional leader back. They got their leader, their CEO, the person with the vision is back. And he's not going to be going anywhere. And so the teams typically rally with that. They go play a little bit harder, go a little bit tougher, because they know, wait, hold up. If coach can fight through this, I can fight through this. I can fight through a conditioning. I can fight through because it's cold outside. And like, ain't no excuses. This man could have died. So this is amazing. So I do believe that this is going to be big for Colorado. It's going to be big for Colorado recruiting, because you know that people were out there negatively recruiting against Colorado. Hey, you don't know what's up with Coach Prime. He might not be there. You know, your son's going to the NFL. This could be something to leave. Now you know somebody that's been in the paint, standing 10, 8 toes down. That is amazing. What does this mean for the rest of the world, though? I believe that this is great for college football, because this is somebody who has been an ambassador for the game, somebody who's been an ambassador for players, somebody who has embraced the change of the transfer portal, NIL, but at the same time keeping them same core values that we love about education, about loving these kids, giving them opportunities and teaching them to be men and developing them. This is the same thing that you see out of Dabo Swinney with his Paul journey. And Dabo Swinney, when I interviewed him on Unafraid show, he talked about Deion Sanders, where he was one of his heroes, and how important education is, and how he was like, Deion couldn't even have the job that he has now if it weren't for education, because you're not getting a college football head coaching job without your degree. So this is a shining example that no matter how much success you have, no matter how great things are going for you, that you still got to go get down and dirty in the dirt and go get the papers. You got to do the things that need to be done. Another thing that Deion said, somebody asked him a question. Now, I wasn't mad at the question. I thought the question was excellent, where he got asked about staring death in the face. And he said, I wasn't staring death in the face. I was staring life in the face.
You've kind of touched on it, but what was it like staring death in the face and dealing with the reality?
I didn't stare death in my face. I stared life in the face, man. Man, you think I'm playing when I tell you I'm God's guy.
My mom, my sister are in the healthcare field, tending to patients all the time. And I know other doctors and nurses and, but people work in hospitals, and they say that the biggest difference between people who come in the hospital and get carried out versus people who walk out is their attitude. If your attitude is great, you believe in the power of positive healing, you believe that good things are going to happen to you, good things typically happen to you. So I'm happy for Deion Sanders. I'm happy for this Colorado team. This was something that could have gone completely the other way. I'll let Deion tell you to end this.
But please get yourself checked.
Go get checked up. And this is something that hits home for me personally, because I'm like, man, I got to go get checked up. I got to make sure I'm here for my kids, for my wife, for my family, here for y'all on Unafraid show who have invested, time, energy into this. Leave your thoughts on how this Colorado season is going to go and what you think about Deion Sanders now. Because there's a lot of people who, falsely think different things about him. And mind you, no person is perfect. But what this means and how this either inspired you or something like that. And leave a story also about how cancer has affected your life, your family. Because I know it has touched mine. My mom had lung cancer a few years ago. She made it. My grandmother succumbed to cancer. My grandfather had cancer. And it's just sad, and you just never know, and we need to find a cure. So, y'all holla at your boy later, and peace out.